Well, Martin Lewis is here now to share his top tips, and he reckons that that there's a possibility you could save hundreds.
Yeah, and there's a really important reason for doing this. The AA has shown that car insurance has gone up by 16% over the last year, massively more than inflation, and they can't see a reason why that isn't going to stop. So that's 82 quid on the typical car insurance policy. You're going to get a shock when you come to renewal. And renewal is, of course, the great sin. Auto-renewal, that is. Occasionally your existing car insurance company will be cheaper. Generally it isn't. Never just accept their price. But there is an advantage. One of the things to understand, car insurance, your price is fixed for a year by definition. You get it for a year, so that's the price that you pay. So the earlier you do it in a price rise environment, the lower the price you lock in at. So I'm actually making the point today, this isn't just... you shouldn't just be thinking, my renewal's not for 6 months, I'm not interested in what he's going to say, I'll do it then. Everybody right now should be checking their price to see if you can do it cheaper, whether you're at renewal or not. Because even if you're not at renewal, you can change.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Halfway through.
So let's just go through the 3 scenarios. If you're at renewal now, I'm going to come on in a minute to tips of how to cut the cost. If your renewal is within the next 60 days, there are a number of insurers who, when you get a quote, that quote is locked in for 60 days. Aviva, LV, Nationwide. So you get a quote now, then your renewal comes in 60 days' time. If that quote you got now is cheaper than your renewal quote or the other cheapest at the time, you've locked in earlier. So in a price rise environment, that's good. I'll give you an example. Dimmerthing7 tweeted me to say renewal £521, quote a month ago, £319. They honoured it. Thank you very much for suggesting locking in. So just getting a quote now, even if you're not going to do it for 2 months, can work. If you're midway through your policy, this is the score, basically. As long as you haven't claimed in the year, you can cancel your existing policy, get a pro rata refund for the rest of the year. They'll normally charge you a £50 admin fee. You don't earn that year's no claims bonus. But if you're saving a lot of money and you're locking in at a cheaper price, it can be worth it. Again, a tweet of someone I suggested do this, who did it. Muzzy Malone, just halved my car insurance, saving £543 by changing mid-policy. Huge thanks. And, of course, they're then locked in. So that price isn't going to go up now for a year, and we're in a price rise environment. This is why I'm saying everybody check, not everybody switch. Everybody check.
But there are other ways that you can slash your costs even further.
So this is how you then actually find the cheapest price. The first thing, I won't go through it in detail, combine comparison sites. Don't just use one. They don't all search the same companies. Comparison sites do a good job if you've got normal circumstances. Use 2 or 3, open them in multiple windows and put your details in. Simple as that. Then, especially if you've got a clean record and you've not had any driving convictions and you've not had any accidents, rather, as well, Direct Line and Aviva can be very competitive, and they are not included by comparison sites. They don't allow themselves to be on there, so add them in too. And I get lots of people who say to me, I wasn't going to check them, I was just going to use a site. I checked those and they were cheaper for me. And then, of course, check that the policy is suitable. Then we get onto the clever stuff.
Go on then. So we're talking about multi-car policies.
I've got 9 tips for you. Let's see how many I can get through.
Go.
Are you ready?
Right.
OK, first of all, multi-car policies. Quite simply, if you've got more than one car in the house and you're all living together, a multi-car policy may be cheaper. It also may be a lot more expensive. Comparison sites do not include multi-car. You have to do it manually. The big one is Admiral Multi-Car, but Churchill, Direct Line and Privilege all give you discounts for multi-car. So if you've got more than one car, check standalone, check them separately. It takes work, this. You know, it's going to be about an hour to get a really good price. And then check them by having them wrapped into one policy where you get a discount. And if you're with a multi-car policy, don't assume that's cheapest. Check standalone at each renewal, because they tend to put the prices up as they go.
Next one.
Comprehensive may be cheaper than third party.
Well, how's that work then?
OK. Well, you would expect comprehensive to be more expensive because it's a more inclusive policy. But here's the point. Insurance pricing is all about actuarial risk, what type of risk you are. And the mere fact you select comprehensive can change the risk category that they're assessing you to be, and that can lower your price by more than the increase because it's a fuller policy.
How mad is that?
It doesn't always work, but don't assume third party's cheapest. Next, again, counter-logical. Adding an extra driver can cut your cost.
Why?
Because it's about risk averages. If you're up here and they're there, you never put them as the first driver. That would be fronting. If it's your car, your first driver, that's illegal. But you could add, it's really good for younger drivers, add your mum, dad, your granny, someone with a good record. Older drivers tend to be better. There's no sex discrimination, so it's about age these days. And that can bring the average down. Just a quote. It's not always about parents either. A woman got in touch with me to say, thanks for that. I was charged £500. I added my husband. He's got a cleaner record than me. My price came down to £298.
Wow, gosh.
Right.
Tweet your job title.
Right, yeah, I'm not saying call yourself the Prime Minister when you're a pole dancer, right? What I'm just saying is legitimate tweets. I know you're thinking about that. Don't dwell too long. It's not an image that works. Anyway, so the point here is legitimate things you can change your job title to be. So, one man, after I suggested this, he was local council worker. He changed it to clerical civil servant, exactly the same thing. Neither were exactly his job description. It's a perfectly legitimate job change. Secretary and PA, if you're both, check which is cheaper. In his case, he dropped £500 by changing job description.
Oh, my gosh, that's huge amount.
Absolutely. It doesn't always work, that, and it's trial and error. It takes a bit of work to get that.
But you can't, obviously, not deceiving anybody.
Never lie. It has to be something that a reasonable person would legitimately say is your job title.
Right.
Right.
Bullet points. Don't pay monthly.
Don't pay monthly. That's a loan. It can be up to a 93% interest rate. If you have to, check what the interest rate is, the APR. If you have to, put it on the 0% credit card is better, or pay up front is even better.
Install a black box.
Black boxes that measure your driving, how you drive or when you drive, especially for younger drivers, can be cheap. I wouldn't go to them in first instance, but if you can't get cheap price, look at the black box insurers.
Haggle.
Yeah, always haggle. If you don't want to switch policy, once you get a cheaper price elsewhere, get on the phone to insurers, say, they're offering me this, will you match it? They often will, then you don't have to have the hassle of changing policy.
Speak to a broker if it's complicated.
Yeah, if you've got non-normal circumstances, you've had lots of convictions, you've got a different type of car, then brokers tend to be better than comparison sites.
And look for cash.
And we'll put
top
all
cash
of
back
those
and quick,
details
once you know your policy, go through it.
on our website,
Yeah.
because we sort of rushed through the last bit. It's brilliant.